Okay, now we've come to the end, and let's just summarize. We've covered an awful lot of ground in the last 35 minutes or so. So let's just review quickly what we've gone through, so that your brain has some things to hold on to here. So the big players, their number one priority is developing capability as fast as possible, because as we mentioned before, we are in it's an AI gold rush, and it's actually survival. So we've got two big carrots and sticks working to drive this technology. Unfortunately, the big players are focused mostly on getting the technology developed. Now, that's not to say that they don't understand safety. They do. To be fair, safety is important, but it's not their primary goal, unfortunately. Just go back to that Sam Altman quote that I talked about at the beginning in part one. So AI alignment, as we talked about too, minimizes unintended consequences. All right, and it aligns a mismatch between machine goals and human values. All right, but here's the problem: humans don't have a common set of values. I mean, look at the Israelis and Palestinians. Look at the Russians and the Ukrainians. Look at Democrats and Republicans. Uh, we have a problem, Houston. And AI isn't going to solve it. It's going to actually force us to think more creatively about problems we've had forever as a species, if you will. The next item is information is not truth. Information is truth and fiction, and truth is a narrow slice of it. The naive view of information is that more is better. That's dangerous and wrong because more information can make things worse. And there's millions of examples of that. Fiction is cheap and often easy, and truth is expensive and painful. Stable societies need the right balance of both. Consciousness is not intelligence. Consciousness is the ability to feel. Intelligence is the capability to take action and achieve goals. Okay, humans have both consciousness and intelligence, and humans are more story driven than truth driven, and that's an important idea to remember too, for in terms of how we create stable societies. AI agents so far are only intelligent. So AI brings the power to greatly amplify many areas of human endeavor, both good and bad. So what we need to be asking ourselves is what will we amplify? For example, if a business is just interested in amplifying profits, or selling more stuff, I still read lots and lots of job postings. And I'm like, I don't want my work to amplify that, just that. If it's human well-being, if it's something that really is going to benefit people, I get excited about that. But what are we going to amplify? It shouldn't be just about a really short-term, narrow focus. We got to be very careful, because we're playing with literally dynamite, on a grand scale. So a lot can go wrong, and a lot has already gone wrong. We talked about the social media impact on teens, the Rohingya massacre in Myanmar, and we talked about that TaskRabbit experiment where AI actually sought to accrue power to itself by lying to a TaskRabbit support person to get access. Okay, the current proposed 10-year moratorium on state-level regulation, I believe, and many others believe, is extremely dangerous. I would encourage you, if you feel the same, to write your congressperson and say, look, I live in Colorado, okay? Most people watching this are probably from Colorado, and the Republicans have the majority in both the House and Senate. However, senators and representatives do have some sway with their colleagues in terms of tweaking current legislation. It's probably going to get passed along party lines, but they can at least exert some pressure on their colleagues and say, hey, look, guys, this portion of the bill is really, really disastrous and dangerous. So they can exert some pressure there. So, I wrap up by saying, stay prepared, talk to friends, come to meetings like this. It was great to see the turnout that we had at our Monday AI for Everyone meeting here in Fort Collins. Ask for help from knowledgeable people. Have a secret code word. um, you know, I'm not going to go too much more than that. And here's some recommended reading for you. Weapons of Math Destruction was written by Kathy O'Neill in 2016, and when I read that, I just knew that I was on the right path in terms of going into data science. It came out about a year after I had started my pivot, and it couldn't have been more timely. Really loved the work. She did a wonderful job. Here we are 9 years later, and we're just now starting to address what she had so eloquently stated 9 years ago. We're late, but at least it's a start. The Alignment Problem by Brian Christian is a really awesome read. It's not an easy read, but it is accessible. You don't need to be a computer scientist to understand what he's talking about. It helps if you are. If you have some exposure to computer science, machine learning, things like that, this book will really be an enlightening book for you. But if you don't have that background, it's still an incredibly easy to understand book. You'll just have to work at it a little harder, but it's wonderful. And best of all of these four that I have here is Yuval Noah Harari's Nexus. He is the best-selling author of Sapiens, which many of you may have heard of. But this book is about information networks from the Stone Age to the AI, and it is brilliant. I'm probably working on my third pass through that book because it is so good. It really he's one of the real polymaths of our time. He's just a brilliant man, and he's one of my intellectual heroes. One of his prior works was called Homo Deus, which is what he wrote, the book he wrote after Sapiens, which really got me spinning around a lot of this stuff. He predicted a lot of things that seemed at the time to be way in the distant future. And I think he's even been surprised that since he came out with Homo Deus in 2016, the same year O'Neill came out with her book, from YouTube's I've seen of him in conversation with other hosts, even he was surprised that we've progressed this quickly. He did not expect a lot of what he was talking about at the time to manifest itself so quickly. But these are some recommendations. I have some appendices here that you might find interesting or entertaining. But besides that, I'm going to add my references, which document all of the stuff I've been talking about, and goes into much more depth if you so wish to explore. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your time, and the best wishes to all.